Hey gamers, this is Liz Davidson from Beyond Solitaire, and I'm here with just a very quick preview of some of the new stuff for the Pandora's Box expansion from Chip Theory Games. So before I start this, I do want to note I have a very close relationship with Chip Theory Games. They have paid me for work in the past, although not for this preview, and they have sent me many review copies, including of Hoplomachus Victorum and Remastered. So, that's information that's probably relevant to your consideration of this preview. I will also tell you, I haven't had time to thoroughly play this stuff. The package with these items in it arrived the day after their crowdfunding campaign started. But I have had a good look at everything, and I'm just going to walk you through what's in it so you can have a look too and see if it informs your decisions about what you want from this game. So I'm going to start with the stuff that I think is maybe there, is what you expect for an expansion, but it's not quite as interesting as what they're trying to do with other modules. So first, we do have a new Scion to fight against. And this guy's fairly interesting. He has a different chip for his head and then another one for his body. And so at first, his head and his body start out together and act as a single unit. But then at certain points, you actually separate them and they work together. And then you also have to destroy both of them in order to win. The other thing is that this guy's head can't actually lose any HP at all until his body is defeated. And one thing to note is that the body can heal based on a chip draw at the point that you reduce it to 0 HP. When Crom's body's HP is reduced to 0, draw 6 random chips from the bag, and if any of the chips that are drawn are Banes, then his body will heal for 3 HP instead of being defeated. So you can go through a phase where it's just tough to defeat his body. I can see this being either really fun and juicy, or maybe personally modding it so that I only have to defeat his body so many times before I get to quit drawing chips. It just kind of depends. I'm an unlucky one though, so we'll see. And then here's a look at the back of the card with the art. That is definitely a spine whip, which is both awesome and gross. I'm here for it. But let's get down to some of the bigger gameplay changes because, new chips and new Banes and, new units and all that kind of stuff. That's always interesting, but that's really not, I think, the full extent of what Chip Theory is trying to do with this expansion. And so I want to talk about that part because I think that this is where the worth of Pandora's Box is really going to be if these are things that you feel you need. So the first thing is that if you have played Hoplomachus Victorum, you know that spending a whole lot of time in one region might be expedient, but it also means that you're playing the same arena again and again and again. So it's very clear that Chip Theory has heard some feedback about that and made some changes, because now there are alternative sets of rules for all of the different arenas in the game. So instead of the original one-sided sheet telling you how each of your little arena locations worked, they're now going to be two-sided, and the little rules for how you're playing are going to change between battles in the same region. And so that's actually exciting because it'll give you two ways to play the things that you were kind of forced into one play mode with before. So basically the aspect of the game that could get the most samey depending on how much you traveled, they are definitely trying to fix that. And so I can see that either being frustrating because you get used to the rules in one way and now you have to do it in another way. Or I can see this being super exciting and awesome because it gives you some variance. And I'm going to say it's probably going to be mostly the latter for me. If you are going to get Hoplomachus Victorum for the first time in this campaign, I might recommend this is one of the things you wait to add. But for experienced players, this is going to be really nice because it'll give some variety where we didn't have it before. So, as I go through the stack, here we've got our Parthians, and you're doing different stuff with the chariots each time, which I think is kind of cool. Our Limosians have their own stuff going on either side now. And then here are the Atlanteans. If you start with the recommended hero in your first games of Hoplomachus Victorum, you'll know this area very well, and you'll be used to the trident throw. But then here, you are still doing stuff with trying to hold on to a trident, but something different happens when you're the trident holder. So instead of throwing it around, you might want to hold on to it and ignore some damage. And the trident holder also gets an interesting new ability called Hungry Ocean. And here we're looking at another aspect that's going to change at least the flavor of the game in a lot of cases. So it used to be that when you had chosen your Scion, yeah, your Scion's there, but the game itself leading up to them doesn't necessarily feel all that different. And, you're still looking at the same event cards. But now there's 6 cards for each of the Scions that you shuffle in to the different kinds of event decks, and then you're going to get some things that are specific to the Hydra, for example. So here they've sent me 6 cards, so 2 for the sport category, 2 for the opportunity deck, and then 2 for bloodshed events that are Hydra specific, and they have done that for 3 of the different Scions, at least for now. So of course these are little prototype cards, but this is definitely like an indicator of what's ahead, where they're trying to give, without changing the structure of the campaign too much, give a sense of flavor depending on the Scion that you've chosen to confront. And I think that's a good thing. And then I wish I'd gotten this earlier, because this is actually the thing I'm personally the most excited about. I like to save the best for last. This is the Mercurys Boots quick play module. So one thing that even I complained about with Hoplomachus Victorum is that it's a great game, but sometimes it just takes a long time to get through it. This is a shortened version of the game that offers different ways to go through the acts of the game, different ways to confront Primuses, and faster travel. So I think this is really cool. I actually think a shorter version of Hoplomachus Victorum will be very welcome for me and for a lot of people who love the game. And so, as you can see, you're still getting some of the same journey stuff, but but each segment of your journey is shorter than it used to be. So now it only takes 24 weeks max to get through the whole thing, and the leveling is quite different. The other thing that's really interesting is that you do obviously have to face a Scion at the end. That's the structure of the game, but you don't have to confront a Primus at the end of each act anymore. Instead, you challenge a Primus when you want to. So you land on a capital location and go for it. But when you do that, you get really great rewards and also a big difficulty bump up in the game. So you get to have a little bit more control over your leveling and the timing of that leveling. I think that's really interesting. And I think that adding big rewards in exchange for the risk of going for it in a Primus battle is a neat choice that I'm excited to explore. So one thing that's very good about this is that there's actually a free download of the Mercurys Boots module on the Gamefound project right now, so I'll link that in the show notes. So if you want to try that one and you already have Hoplomachus Victorum, then you can, and that's something that I'm personally hoping to pull off in the near future, although I am insanely busy. So we're going to see what I can get in. I did want to re-review Victorum around this time of year anyway. So one of my goals, now that I have that module, is I didn't have it in time to give it some really good plays before the end of the campaign. But I do want to try it several times and then incorporate that into a fresh review of Hoplomachus Victorum. So it's about time for me to pull that baby back out. So that's the preview of the new stuff. It truly is a preview. I only have so much access right now, but I'm very excited by what I've seen. So hopefully that is true for you as well. And either way, I hope this helps you make a more informed decision about whether this is something that you really want. I mean, I love chip theory games. Obviously, we know I'm biased, but this stuff also costs a lot of money. So you should make sure this is something that you truly desire if you're going to back it. So thank you so much for watching, and happy gaming, everybody.